So hey everybody, I'm sitting up here on a hill called Veterans Hill. It's in a cemetery across the street from my subdivision, and most people don't know this about me, but I love cemeteries. I know that seems extraordinarily morbid, but I find them very peaceful. I love looking at the tombstones and the beautiful surroundings, and this is truly one of the most beautiful cemeteries. And I like sitting among the peaceful, those who have lived their lives and those who have passed on. And I think a lot about their lives and what they must have been like, what they experienced, what their troubles were, what their joys were. I get my hair out of my face. And so I just like pondering. I like looking at a tombstone and seeing, a husband and wife next to each other and seeing how long she had to live without him when he left, or vice versa, or, how many children they had, or what era they lived in. It's just interesting to me, and it's peaceful to me to sit among those who have been where I'm trying to go now. I've been thinking a lot lately. I was watching a Trump rally the other night, and it was the one where he introduced RFK Jr. as his on his team, and it's this huge packed auditorium, 20,000 people, every seat's full. There's 60,000 outside the auditorium that can't even get in, but they're watching on big screen TVs because they wanted to be a part of this. And I find that I've entered a new time in this process and in this part of my life. And it kind of dawned on me the other night as I was watching that, because I thought, boy, I wish I could go to another rally. I miss being at the January 6th rally. I know that sounds crazy, but you had to be there to understand. But then I realized that in the last few years, things have really, really changed for me. When we went to January 6th rally, we understood that there were problems with the election, that the person that we thought was going to serve as president would not be serving in that role quite the way we expected, and there was every reason to lose hope. There was every reason for us to be very sad, very desperate feeling, very confused. We had spent years before starting to understand that things were not right in the world, and that the things that were in the world were very scary. I keep hearing noises behind me, but it's a creek or something. Anyway, very different time when we went to that rally. And I got to thinking, I do hope maybe I'll get another chance to go to a Trump rally. It's an amazing experience. It truly is. And for those of you, I know that there's a couple of you that have been to one of them. I know that you'll agree with me that it's one of the most exhilarating experiences to be among people that have a like-mindedness of the same heart kind of thing. But then I got to thinking, there's nothing that could match January 6th. And the reason why is because that was the first big rally after the election. We were all there because President Trump invited people to come to DC and to support the process and to show our patriotism. And so we went. And when we were there, the despair that we were feeling, and all the mess of the election, and all the horrible things that we had found out over the years, and how we didn't see an end to those terrible, terrible societal problems that we were having. A lot of us were living in pretty desperate mind state. And then you get to this rally, and you are among thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people who think like you do. And so often in this world we feel alone. We feel like nobody understands what we think or what we feel, that nobody comprehends the depth of our sorrow or the strength of our anger, or even in those good and victorious times, the height of the escalation of our joy, because we're so isolated now from everybody else. But when you go to these rallies, and especially on January 6th, it was a time where you were standing right next to someone you have never met before, you will probably never see again in your life, but that person had so much in common with you and could identify with you in a way that they understood you. We were like the same people. We were like tens of thousands of people in sync in a way that I've never experienced before. And I remember telling Galen, and several other people said that this was probably as close to heaven as we could get. To be among people of like mind, like thought, like heart, like purpose. And in that desperate time when we did not know, and we never imagined we'd be waiting this long for a resolution to those problems, we needed that. And it was just, it's a time fixed in my life, a day fixed in my memory and in my heart that can never be erased. And for everything that the world wants to make of that day, it is one of the most beautiful days of my life. My husband and I both felt like God had sent us there, and so we went because we wanted to be obedient to our faith in God to do what he asked us to do, and we've tried to do that all along in this process. And that's kind of where I find myself now. It's kind of like, for so many years I was on this path of learning and researching and studying and talking to people and debating and trying to accept things that I didn't know about, and the fight and the passion and the motivation was so strong to move forward and to get through the process. And then this really annoying and strange thing happened where we kind of got to a point where we have this view of the world in our heads now. A world that is much different than we originally thought, but we have a much clearer picture of the truth, I believe. And now, there's really not a whole lot more for us to learn until the rest of the story happens. I think we've made ourselves ready so that when people come to the point where truth is revealed to this country, that we are going to be able to help them. But in no way do I believe that I'm prepared for the whole picture of what's to come. I know that there's lots that we don't know because we can't know because it's not time yet. That will surprise us, frighten us maybe, shock us. The difference between us and the people that don't know yet about what's coming is that we have taken it in a little bit at a time. When I researched something 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago and learned something horrible, I had the benefit and I was very thankful that I could step away, stop looking at the research. I could go out and tend my garden. I could be with my family. I could leave that alone until whatever it was that I had to face, whatever it was that had brought me to my knees in absolute despair, wrenching, heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching despair. I could stop and I could pray about it. I could try to get some kind of perspective on it, if you can get a perspective on some of the craziest things that we've learned in the last few years. I could put it into the perspective of what I had learned. And then when I was ready, I could move on, take in some more, and process some more until I found myself once again on my knees, once again in that heart-wrenching, gut-aching, mind-tearing horror. And then I would back off. So it's been a process of learning for a lot of years now. The interesting thing now is I find that it's kind of like looking back with, it's like going to a class reunion and remembering when you went to high school. It's memories now. It's remembering going through those things, remembering how hard it was, remembering that there were so few that would accept what you were saying that you couldn't even talk to people. I mean, thank God I had my husband, and that I had some very amazing and beautiful people that are friends across the years that have supported me through social media, phone calls, different things. I wasn't alone, and of course I had God, and God made a way through it all. But I'm stuck in this place now where there's really no place for me to go until I learn more of the truth, and that's not going to come out right away. And it's just kind of like remembering it, and what's the word? I can't think of the word. I don't know what I'm trying to convey here. I don't know. But now it's waiting, which I've never been very good at. I'm terrible at waiting. Never. I mean, everybody, my hundreds of thousands of people online that I follow or I communicate with or I listen to, or everybody's in this space where we're remembering and kind of reliving those thoughts and feelings in our head, and then we're in wait mode, knowing that something's coming, knowing something pretty drastic is going to hit us, but understanding that by going through that process of being exposed and terrified and torn down and then taking the time to bring ourselves back into life and able to accept just a little bit more and a little bit more, we've come to a place. I mean, honestly, there's nothing that surprises me anymore. There isn't. And somebody said that 3 or 4 years ago. They said, by the time this gets here, nothing's going to surprise us. We're just going to be like, yep, little green men from Mars walked through my, subdivision last night. Oh, okay. Does anybody have a video? That'd be cool. I mean, seriously, there's nothing that people could tell me now that I would probably be shocked at. I think that the world was so fake and so horrible. I don't know what the word is. Dysfunctional, deranged. There's a lot of words for what the world is. That nothing really is gonna break me at this point. I guess short of the loss of my family, I think that would be very hard. But I think that I pray even then that if that were to happen, that God would give me the grace and the mercy to survive it. But I'm hoping that we can get through this without anything like that. So I'm waiting, and I know that all my friends are doing that too. I keep putting news out on Facebook or X, or talking to people about things, and there's more people that are receptive to hearing it nowadays. I'm working with new things that I've begun to see necessary. I'm working a lot in creating herbal medicines, so that I can pursue more of a natural healing mode. As a nurse, I have seen what the medical industry is, and what I see when I treat people is more the failures of the medical system than the successes. And I think that we can get back to something that I'm pulling grass, that will be better. And I'm wanting to learn a lot about that. I'm pulling herbs. I'm saving plants. I'm creating medicines. I'm using those, and I'm finding that they help me. I spend time in the Bible trying to make sure that I know what it really says and not what I think it says, because every time you encounter a life-altering period of time, then the words have new meaning. And let me tell you, after going through all of this, the words in the Bible have such depth of truth, and when you read the sentences, they suddenly make a new kind of sense to you that you would have never understood before going through this experience. So there's a lot of us in this country waiting, and I believe that something is going to happen soon. But now I'm just in preparation mode. I looked fondly at the rally the other night going, oh, it'd be so nice to be among those people. But I've been there. And I get online and I see people talking about something that 5-10 years ago would have horrified me, and now I'm able to participate in the conversation and offer my insights, and I'm not shocked by what I hear, but I take into consideration things, and I build on my knowledge, and I adjust my feelings and my responses, and I think that that's really good. It's been a long, hard process, but I sit in the cemetery and I talk to you guys, and here sitting next to me is a tombstone of a gentleman from World War I, and he died the year that I was born, in 1966. I don't know if you can see that. I can't see very well with the light, but I'm sitting on top of Veterans Hill, and I'm surrounded by people that died for our country on my birth year. There's Civil War veterans on the other side of the hill. There's World War II veterans all through. There's Spanish-American War people here. So down through the ages in the history of our country, I'm sitting amongst the greats. I'm sitting amongst the people that survived this world, contributed to it greatly, and passed on to something that I hope is vastly better. And I hope that someday, when my time here is over, I will have contributed to the world in a way that made a positive difference, that I was able to touch somebody and help them to get through the things that have been hard for me to get through. That I would support people when they need me. And I just want you all to know that in these times of reflection, looking back over the past, I have a peace that comes from a lot of amazing understanding that I didn't have before. But as things progress and they grow more difficult, I hope you know that no matter who you are, no matter what the status of our relationship right now, no matter, I got friends somewhere, no matter what the status of us is right now, I'm here, and I am very willing and very open to talk to anybody who needs help, who needs to vent, who needs to ask questions, who needs to express concerns. I am here for the person that ends up in that heap on the floor with the heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching pain that they're inevitably going to encounter if they're human and have a conscience and a soul. So I just wanted to say these things. I don't know why, but I've been thinking a lot about the past few years, and I've been thinking a lot of thoughts about how I feel about those things in retrospect versus going through them at the moment. And so maybe I'll make some more videos. I don't know. I always think I'm going to make more videos, and then I don't. But maybe I'll find some time to come out here and sit in the cemetery or in my backyard or my bedroom and just kind of talk about some of the things that I've learned and some of the things I'm feeling. Because it's going to be quite a wild ride, but we're going to get through this and it's going to be okay. Try to believe that. For sure, turn to God. He is the master and the creator of the universe, and He is the master and creator of our souls. And if we allow Him to take control of that, of us, if we devote ourselves to trusting in Him, there's just nothing that can touch us. So have faith if you can. If you can't, talk to me, and I hopefully I can encourage you. But we're all going to get through this together. So thanks for the people that have supported me along the way. God bless you all as you've learned hard things and dealt with a very incredibly difficult decade before us. And we're going to make it through this together. So you guys hang in there and have a great evening. And I love you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.